Good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of the Washington County Board of Commissioners. Please be advised that this meeting is audio and video live stream. Now it will be on YouTube and the link will be shared on the Commissioners' Facebook page to approve the resolution. If you have not done so already, please make sure to sign in so we have an accurate record of attendance at our meeting. As is customary, we always begin with a prayer. This morning it will be offered by Pastor Michael Roach from Trinity Bible Fellowship. I didn't even see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners, for this great honor of being with you this morning or this afternoon. Would you bow your heads with me in prayer? Almighty God, thank you that you have allowed us the opportunity to be part of the Commissioners' meeting this day. 1 Timothy 2 tells us, I urge then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, and intercession and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. Lord, today we pray you will be at the center of all decisions made. We pray your wisdom, guidance, strength, and courage upon our commissioners and all the staff who work so diligently to make this a great place to live. We acknowledge you in all that we do, that you may direct the furtherance of this gathering. Lord, we pray that all the decisions that are made today will positively impact and bless the citizens, businesses, schools, and all who call Washington County home. Amen.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance by U.S. Army veteran Gary Elder, Vietnam, 1968-1971.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Elder.
Thank you, sir.
I will now entertain a motion to approve meeting minute number 1167.
So moved. Second?
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Mr. Magic?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn? Yes, thank you. We have quite an extensive list of special orders of business today. It's a little unusual, so please be patient with us because we have very worthy causes that we want to show our support for. We begin today with the proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month. Commissioner Sherman.
Proclamation, whereas April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, whereas children thrive in safe, stable, nurturing families, sadly, child abuse remains a significant public health issue. And whereas establishing partnerships that fortify the bonds between parents and children can build strong, healthy families and resilient, thriving communities. And whereas each year, the month of April is set aside to recognize the dedicated professionals who meet families upstream before crisis occurs and offer them access to support to mitigate their challenges. And whereas child abuse prevention requires a collaboration, multifaceted approach involving diligent work of the entire community to keep children safe from harm. And whereas child abuse prevention cannot be achieved through a single community agency or system, we each have to play a role in the work that prevent children's most vulnerable among us. And whereas by working together, we can stem the tide of abuse, strengthen families and communities, and ensure that Washington County children enjoy brighter futures and grow with their full potentials and healthy, productive citizens. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Washington County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Washington County calls upon all citizens to learn of the many ongoing efforts to create positive, healthy environments for children. Together, we can contribute to the well-being and ensure the community to keep the children safe and families together. Adopted this 20th day of April, 2023 in Washington, Pennsylvania. Madam Chair, I so move.
Second?
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn? Yes, thank you. With us to accept this proclamation today is our Director of CYS, Ann Schlegel. We also have Ashley Black, a manager, Kristen Young, a manager, and Hillary Burchett, Supervisor Prevention Manager, along with our Administrator of Human Services, Kim Rogers.
Very much.
Thank you for everything you do. Thanks, sir. Yeah. 20-year veteran here with us, serving.
Thank you, Board of Commissioners, as always, for your ongoing support to the community and especially to our child welfare team. Child abuse is a heartbreaking and devastating reality that affects too many of our children right here in Washington County. As a community, we must work together to create a culture where abuse and neglect are no longer tolerated. We must strengthen communities to support families in preventing child abuse. I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of many individuals and organizations who are committed to preventing child abuse and supporting families, particularly our child welfare casework team. This team amazes me every day. They truly are superheroes in our community. We have a little poem that our casework manager is going to read.
In the midst of darkness and despair, child welfare workers are always there, a shining light of hope in times of need, defenders of the vulnerable with unwavering speed. With hearts full of compassion and love, they stand up for the children like angels from above. They provide safety and care with a gentle hand and bring healing and hope to a broken land. With courage and determination, they fight for the rights of every child, day and into the night. They work tirelessly to keep families together and help them overcome the toughest of weather. They lend an ear to listen, a shoulder to cry, and provide a safe space for children to rely. They are the superheroes in everyday life, making a difference through their service strife. Child welfare caseworkers, we honor you today for your unwavering dedication and for leading the way.
But our child welfare team cannot do this work alone. It's up to all of us to stand up for our children and take action to prevent child abuse and neglect. This means being vigilant in reporting suspicions of abuse and neglect and supporting those families in your community who you may see may be going through crisis and can use your help, your advocacy, in making sure that they are able to strengthen the well-being of their children. Thank you.
And I just want to say something. This is such an incredibly difficult job that the team members of Washington County CYS perform. They're not referred to as first responders, but they really are the first responders for crisis within family when children are involved. They see some very horrific things that they cannot unsee. They deal with trauma every day, and we just want to say how deeply appreciated you all are for the work that you do and the sacrifices you make to be able to serve the children in this county. So God bless you all for everything you do.
Thank you.
Next, we have a proclamation for Month of the Young Child. Mr. Sherman.
Whereas early intervention services ensure that all children from birth to 5 with developmental delays receive services and support to maximize the development so that they can be successful in every setting. Whereas early childhood developmental milestones achieve a keystone for a lifelong successful independence and quality of life. And whereas approximately 794 infants and toddlers in Washington County were referred to services this year due to developmental delays. Whereas approximately 995 infants and toddlers in Washington County received services and support for the developmental delays. And whereas approximately 213 infants and toddlers who are at risk for developmental delays in Washington County receive services and support annually. Whereas children's opportunities are to share responsibility for community benefit when young children are provided quality of learning experiences early in a safe environment, both at home and early childhood education centers, promoting their healthy growth and development. And whereas the job of a parent as a first teacher should be both acknowledged as the world's most vital work and celebrated as every miracle in which the future of Washington County citizens are created. Whereas early intervention month of the young child provides an opportunity for outreach, education, and awareness for the critical and well-being of all children and families. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Washington County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 23 Month of the Young Child and call upon government agencies and community providers, businesses, and private citizens to join forces in the common goal of promoting health and therefore early childhood development within Washington County, adopted this 20th day, April 2023 in Washington, Pennsylvania. Madam Chair, I so move.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes. To accept this proclamation, we have Lisa Arnold Mylan. She is the Behavioral Health Developmental Services Deputy Administrator, Abigail Lunger from Early Intervention, the coordinator, and our Director of BHDS, Jennifer Scott.
I'd like to introduce you to our early intervention coordinator, Abigail Lunger. She would like to say a few things.
Thank you, Commissioners, for recognizing the importance of early child development and therefore positive parenting practices through this proclamation. I have the privilege of leading a team of wonderful early interventionists who have diligently served approximately 955 infants and toddlers and their families in Washington County this year, both in their homes and in our communities. The significance of their life's work cannot be overstated, and the impact that it has on our county's littlest residents is immeasurable. We've all heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Our message today to early childhood professionals, community members, and most importantly to our children and their families is that we stand as a county with you to support you in the development of our young children. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have a proclamation for Autism Awareness Month, and there is a little girl who's 3.5 who I love with all my heart, who was recently diagnosed. So I'm going to read that. Whereas according to the Autism and Development Disabilities Monitoring Network, 1 in 44 children have been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. Autism occurs across all racial, ethnic, and social norms. Autism is noted to be more prevalent among boys than girls. And whereas Washington County identifies that individuals with autism have the capability and drive to be part of Washington County's community and promotes the inclusion of these individuals into our community. And whereas Washington County recognizes the importance of individuals with autism to live a life full of inclusion in the community, a life of their choosing, as well as a life that any other member of Washington County can choose to live. And whereas Washington County fully understands the difficulties in our community faced by those who are diagnosed with autism and continues to raise awareness in the community through learning and recognizing there are barriers and misconceptions that prevent opportunities for individuals with autism, thus hindering their ability to enjoy and live independent and rewarding lives. Whereas Washington County encourages all individuals with autism to rise to their full potential, to take pride in the lives they have created, and ensures all individuals are given the chance to participate in the everyday life of their choosing. Now therefore be it resolved, the Washington County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim April 2023 as Autism Awareness Month and call upon our government, community agencies, service providers, businesses, and private citizens to battle stigma, promote awareness, and enable our citizens with autism to be a true and inclusive part of our community and to enable them to live their everyday lives as they so desire. Adopted this 20th day of April 2023 in Washington, Pennsylvania, signed by the Board of Commissioners. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman? Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes, thank you. To accept this proclamation today, we have Jennifer Scott, again, our BHDS Administrator, and Sheila Fullerton, the IDA Director.
Thank you, Commissioners. We would just like to express our gratitude to all our families, supports coordinators, providers, residents of Washington County, and the Commissioners for what they do to ensure that our individuals we serve with autism in Washington County get the chance to experience an everyday life just like each and one of you. In Washington County, we strive to end stigma, promote the neurodiverse community, and ensure that our individuals live an everyday life. We do this by sharing information, trainings, and education. The neurodiverse community is just that, diverse. It presents as a multitude of abilities, and we as a county strive to ensure that all are given the chance to use those abilities and that they live their life to the fullest potential. Thank you.
Next, we have a proclamation for National Library Week. Mr. Maggi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Whereas today's libraries are more about what they can do with and for their communities, and not just about what they have on their shelves. And whereas libraries have long served as trusted institutions, often the heart of their cities, towns, schools, and academic campuses. And whereas libraries serve people of all ages, interests, and backgrounds, providing the resources and space to engage in lifelong learning. And whereas libraries offer equipment and professional staff support to utilize technology, programs, and services, often free or with nominal charges to users. And whereas libraries are a resource for all, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status. And whereas we recognize librarians as information professionals who provide expertise, services, and guidance for patrons to access credible sources and material, making their own informed decisions about the world today. And whereas librarians thoughtfully develop collections and programs that are wide-ranging and explore the diversity of our changing society. And whereas the PA Forward Literacy is Power initiatives highlight how libraries and staff encourage literacy in basic information, civic and social, health, and financial, which contributes to greater personal and community success. And whereas America is celebrating National Library Week, including April 25th as National Library Workers Day, and immeasurable contributions made by library workers, April 26th as National Library Outreach Day, celebrating library outreach and dedicated library professionals who are meeting their patrons where they are. And April 27th as Take Action for Libraries Day, encouraging community support for libraries. And now therefore be it resolved that we, the Washington County Commissioners, proclaim April 24th through the 27th, 2023 in Washington County as National Library Week. During this week, we encourage all residents to visit our libraries and explore all that they offer to help move PA forward. Adopted this 20th day of April 2023 in Washington, Pennsylvania. Madam Chair, I move for adoption.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
And Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes. Today, to accept this proclamation, we have Chad Gump, who is the Executive Director of the Washington County Library System, and 8 others. So if you'd all like to come up and introduce everyone who's helping us out.
Thank you, Commissioners, for recognizing National Library Week. Our mission at the Washington County Library System is to inspire lifelong learning, advance knowledge, and strengthen Washington County. And our mission would not be completed without the great library directors and staff that we have across our 14 library locations. Through our locations and the 750,000 items within our Wagon Library District, we are able to provide free literacy and programs to everyone within our county and even those from outside of it. We are also broadening, offering museum passes, hybrid programming, and large-scale summer activities to make sure we meet the needs of all within Washington County. In addition, we are planning to host a collaborative summer reading event in Mingo Park on July 29th. It's for everyone who participated in the summer reading programs across the 14 libraries, and it's be sponsored by Bud Bear Subaru and the Share the Love Initiative. All of this and more is currently going on at your local library, so please take a chance to stop by. And from myself, the system, and all 14 libraries within Washington County, we would like to sincerely thank the county commissioners, since this would not be possible without your continued support. Thank you.
Next, we have a proclamation for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Mr. Maggi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Whereas April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, a time to draw attention to the prevalence of sexual assault and educate individuals and communities about how to prevent it. Sexual harassment, abuse, and assault are widespread problems in the United States alone. Nearly 1 in 5 women and 1 in 67 men have been raped at some time in their lives. And 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 20 boys is sexually abused by the age of 17. And whereas sexual harassment, assault, and abuse happens in all communities, including online spaces, the theme of this year's Sexual Assault Awareness Month campaign is Drawing Connections. Prevention demands equality. The campaign calls on individuals, communities, organizations, and institutions to change the systems surrounding us to build equity and respect within the community, workplace, and the future our youth hold. And whereas each of us had the power to enact change, we can all make a difference to ensure that the communities in which we engage are safe and respectful for everyone. And whereas it is time for all of us to take responsibility to create spaces that are built on the foundational values of consent, keeping children and other vulnerable populations safe, believing and supporting survivors, and whereas with leadership, dedication, and encouragement, there is evidence that we can be successful in preventing sexual violence in Washington County through increased education, awareness, and public involvement. The SPHS Care, the Center STARS program, strongly supports the efforts of national, state, and local partners and of every citizen to actively engage in efforts to prevent sexual violence. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Washington County Board of Commissioners, join advocates and communities across the country in playing an active role to prevent sexual assault, harassment, and abuse, along with the United States government and the state of Pennsylvania. We do hereby proclaim April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. For more information on sexual violence services in Washington County, please call the Care Center STARS program at 1-888-480-7283. Adopted this 20th day of April, 2023 in Washington, Pennsylvania. Madam Chair, I move for adoption.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes. And today with us, we have Joanna Dragon, Supervisor, SPHS Care Center, Brianna Bendick, and Kristen Holmes. Thank you.
Thank you again to the Board of Commissioners for always proclaiming April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. This might be like my 20th year doing this. So, and also the staff that helped us set this up. I'd like to recognize Kristen and Bree and the staff that can't be with us today because they're in the community serving survivors of sexual violence, of which we serve about 600 to 700 in Washington and Greene counties every year. We have a fantastic staff at the STARS program that does so much, providing counseling and advocacy services, as well as manning our 24-hour hotline and doing prevention work in the community that is so important for the hidden survivors that reside in our area. We also want to make sure that we give a shout out actually to all of our collaborators in the community, many of which are getting their own proclamations today that we work with, and we couldn't do our jobs without the collaboration that we have here in Washington County from the county programs like Children and Youth Services and community programs like Watchful Shepherd, and the libraries for helping us move information out to law enforcement and our hospital systems. We all have to work together because the crime of sexual assault and harassment and abuse really is something that's stigmatized and hidden. And so many people don't know or are afraid to come forward and seek help. So we really appreciate all the collaboration that we have in our community. Washington County is a great place for community. Just in ending, I would like to give our hotline again in case anybody here or anybody online is a victim or knows a victim. You can call our free hotline at 1-888-480-7283. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Next, we have a proclamation for Watchful Shepherd Day, USA Day.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Whereas Watchful Shepherd USA, a program that was first initiated in Canonsburg General Hospital in 1993, is celebrating 30 years of protecting children. And whereas Watchful Shepherd was founded by the late Joe Feminani, who was distraught by a tragic news story about a young girl who died at the hands of her father. And whereas using similar technology to that of homebound senior citizens, Feminani conceived a wristband allowing abused and neglected children to summon local emergency response at the press of a button. And whereas what began as a pilot program in Washington County, Pennsylvania, has grown into a national nonprofit family abuse prevention program, which has been provided free of charge by numerous agencies across the country and has protected thousands of children between the ages of 3 and 18. And whereas Watchful Shepherd USA also provides more discrete devices that can connect to an app on a mobile device capable of sending text messages up to 5 pre-selected emergency contacts. And whereas on October 20th, 2023, Watchful Shepherd USA is holding a unique fundraising event similar to Dancing with the Stars called Dancing for a Cause. The event will be held at the Hilton Garden Inn, South Point, and features celebrities teaming up with professional dance instructors from Arthur Murray Dance Studio. More importantly, this worthwhile event helps to raise funds to fight childhood abuse. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Washington County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, April 4th, 2023, as a Watchful Shepherd USA Day. Watchful Shepherd USA is so honored to have the many agencies like Washington Hospital, ER, Domestic Violence of Southwestern PA, Children and Youth Services, Juvenile and Adult Probation, Justice Works, Blueprints, the Children's Institute, UPMC, Behavioral Health, and SPHS utilize our program with the unwavering support of the Commissioners of Washington County. Thank you. Adopted this 20th day of April, 2023 in Washington, PA. Madam Chair, I move for approval.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes, so for those here watching, those watching online, it seems like we're talking about some very difficult subjects and issues that we have in our society. But the good news is we have all these wonderful people that are here and helping others. So that's the good news. And as far as Watchful Shepherd goes, they are still looking for one more male and one more female dancer for their big fundraiser. If there are any volunteers, you have to raise some money for them, but it's a lot of fun. When I danced one year, my daughter met who is now her husband, so some really good things can come out of that. So I'd like to welcome to accept the proclamation Tracy Wagnall and who's the Executive Director, Jennifer Parash. And we also have Joe Feminani Jr. who's with us as well. His father was the founder. So we get to
Very good job.
Everybody butchers my last name.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Feminani.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you so much, Commissioners. On behalf of the Watchful Shepherd Board, our co-president, Joe Feminani Jr., our program manager, Jennifer Parash, and myself would like to express our sincere gratitude for this proclamation today during this, our 30th anniversary year. Our founder, Joseph Feminani, started out with a dream, you spoke about that, to help one child, a child who, like so many others, needed a helping hand to navigate their world. Watchful Shepherd, over these last 30 years, has had the privilege to work with so many agencies. As Joanna said, so many of you are in the room, and with Washington County Children and Youth. We're so grateful to have had that opportunity to work with them throughout the county, throughout the state, and even throughout the continental United States, to be that hand for children and families. Joe started Watchful Shepherd, like you said, right here in on top of Canonsburg Hospital. And with this month being Child Abuse Prevention Month, it also marks another milestone for us, for Watchful Shepherd. For over 29 years, we've been known for those home units, a device that kept children safe inside their homes. But this time last year, Watchful Shepherd launched a mobile security device that, while paired with a cell phone, can travel with them wherever they are and wherever they go. This discrete device, with a click of a button, can alert personal contacts. It can alert ADT, a security alarm call center, and if needed, it can even record through that paired cell phone. This new technology has opened up the possibilities to continue helping children, their caregivers, and keeping families together. And we've done this with the private donations and fundraisers to help provide this service free of charge to the agencies that use them, as well as the clients they service. And Diana has been kind enough to help dance over the years to raise money for us. So with that, I thank you for the proclamation. I'll just leave you with one example of one of our clients that stands out in my mind. I hope it will yours as well. It's a story about Jessica, who had had an in-home unit in her home for years. And when we launched the mobile device, we went into the agency and we helped her pair her cell phone to the new mobile device. And she turned to her 9-year-old son and she said, "Do you know what this means now?" And we, Jennifer and I, looked at each other and we thought, I wonder what it means. And she turned to him and she said, "We can go outside now." It never occurred to us that they had been homebound, and this allowed them the freedom to move outside their home. And he looked at her and he said, "Maybe I could go to school. Maybe I could wear that discrete mobile device underneath my shirt and nobody would know. I could play football." So I thought to myself, Joe, our founder, said if he could just help one child, if that's my one child, I could walk away and say I was satisfied. But the hope is, with the help of the agencies that we work with here in this room and ourselves, we can continue to help thousands more. So thank you.
We have one more proclamation. It is for 412 Thrive Day. Commissioner Maggi.
Thank you. Whereas 412 Thrive is a nonprofit group positively impacting the lives of individuals who have had breast cancer or genetic mutations that lead to cancer. These people are known as Thrivers. The Southwestern Pennsylvania group is dedicated to serving all those affected, and whereas 412 Thrive provides funding for patient resources as well as support through wellness events that focus on life, both during and after cancer diagnosis. 412 Thrive strives to create a support system that makes everyone feel secure and included, whereas by offering online and in-person support, monthly gathering, educational workshops, wellness retreats, care packages, house cleaning, and meals when needed. 412 Thrive is devoted to helping individuals do more than survive. They help them thrive, and whereas 412 Thrive was founded by Samantha Motes, who was diagnosed with breast cancer at age of 23, her firsthand knowledge helped her realize how important having connections with others going through similar experiences was. So she sought to create a support system for all. Thus, 412 Thrive is dedicated to making people smile through their cancer diagnosis, treatment, and beyond. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Washington County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 12, 2023 as 412 Thrive Day. The Commissioners of Washington County applauds the group for continuing to be such a strong support system to help those affected by cancer feel secure in the fact that they are not alone. Adopted this 20th day of April 2023 in Washington, Pennsylvania. Madam Chair, I move for approval.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes. And to accept this proclamation is Samantha, who is the founder and executive director.
Commissioners for having me and for honoring 412 Thrive with this special day for the work that we do in our community. As you heard, I was diagnosed with breast cancer at 23 years old. I used that platform to educate young women that breast cancer can happen to them at any time. That was the healthiest I've ever been. I have no genetic mutations and no family history. So besides the free services that we provide, which are the care packages, the retreat, support groups, monthly social gatherings, we are also trying to get into high schools and universities to educate these women that breast cancer is possible. I have some very sad stories of women who have passed away in their 20s because they were diagnosed metastatic. They didn't know that they could get breast cancer, even though there were obvious signs. We have women who have passed away with breast cancer because their doctors told them that they were too young for breast cancer and that the lump in their breast was probably hormonal and to go home, and those women died within the year. So it is really, really important for me to get out there and share my story, because every time somebody hears my story, they realize that breast cancer can happen to them, and they will go get their mammograms and they will go get checked when they have lumps under the age of 40. We are also about to start a big, huge billboard campaign to help educate the public to do self-breast exams every month, to schedule your mammograms, and that breast cancer happens at all ages. So thank you.
Thank you.
We just had our first big fundraiser. It was casino night on March 31st. It was in honor of 412 Thrive Day. Next year it will be on April 12th, which is a Friday, 412 Thrive Day, and we would love to see the commissioners there.
Thank you very much. We have so much good going on in our county. And now we move to certificates of recognition. This past year, our new governor decided to honor female veterans in a very special way. And out of all of the veterans across Pennsylvania, I believe it was 11 were recognized. No, 22, there, I got it wrong. 22 throughout the state, but out of the 22 throughout the state, 2 were from Washington County. We're very proud of that. So we want to recognize today those 2 women veterans, and knowing that they were really trailblazers when they were in the military. Certificate of recognition, we, the Washington County Board of Commissioners, do hereby recognize Dr. Sally Mance and Dr. Susan Morris Rutledge. We thank you for your selfless service in the United States Army, for both, while serving our country so that we may enjoy our freedom. We acknowledge your valor and devotion to duty as a servicewoman who has helped pave the way for future generations. We thank you for the contributions that you have made and salute you for bringing great honor to Washington County. And it's presented this 20th day of April, 2023, signed by the Board of Commissioners.
Well, I know Susan, or I know Sally for a long time. I can say that she has a family of service. Her father was a decorated World War II hero, quite a background, and her brother, her nephews, all served the country. So I salute your family for that, Sally.
Thank you so much. And Commissioners, thank you so much for this award. And Susan and I are both so appreciative of this. I especially want to thank County Commissioner Diane Irivon and Marie Trosman, who drove me out to Harrisburg. We had a wonderful, wonderful day together, just being celebrated and feted by the governor. And then we had a picture, which was the governor and 22 of us. I ended up being beside him. So County Commissioner Irivon took a picture of just me and the governor, which was really wonderful. I have to tell you that Susan and I are both from military families. Susan's father was a Vietnam veteran who took custody of her son when she went into the military as a chemical ordnance specialist. And I come from a long line of military. My father was He was given a decoration in the Ardennes Offensive. And my uncle was one of the soldiers who liberated Dachau concentration camp in Germany and then stood guard as an MP over the Nuremberg trials. We have to tell you that as many difficulties as our country has today and as much division as we have, we would do it again right now. Because no matter what, this is a really, really great country and we are proud to have served. We both say, God bless America.
I just have to comment that Sally's brother, John, is still supporting the military. He and I ran the Marine Corps Marathon in DC this past October. We appreciate so much, and we have a lot of women veterans that we're so happy to be able to recognize. But congratulations on the honor you received statewide. We're so proud of you. We will now take a very brief recess for photos.
Believe it or not.
I will call this meeting back to order. This is the time that we come to public comments. Before we do that, I just want to mention we have a couple individuals who do seek to serve on the Board of Commissioners that are here. Kevin Redford, Sonia Stopper, glad to see that you came. As we enter public comments, please be advised that the views and opinions expressed by the speakers during this public comment period are exclusively those of the speakers, do not reflect or represent those of the Washington County Board of Commissioners, and the information has not been verified. We will begin with John Timney, Executive Director of the Washington County Authority, who is doing our broadband project.
Good afternoon. My name is John Timney. I lived in Peters Township. I have lived in Peters Township for the last 16 years. Formerly at Crown Castle for 22 years, I'm the director of the Washington County Authority, where we've been contracted by the Board of Commissioners to run the broadband project. The authority has 2 employees. Our business operations manager lives in North Strabane, and our fiber consultant right there lives in New Eagle. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. We have 2 parts of this really quickly. The first part is I want to thank you for all the support that you've given us through the last, I'd say 13, 14 months related to broadband. Last month, we were here and requested some consideration for the unserved areas for broadband for Jefferson Township, Canton Township, and Taylorstown, targeting about 400 locations. That location could be a home, business, charitable event, charity location. You've approved that, and thank you very much for that. This month, we're looking for consideration for approximately 700 unserved locations for Hanover Township and Burgettstown. So that's the part 1. The part 2 is broadband is very, very, very expensive. As a country mile, it's about $65,000 for a mile. So we would like your permission to apply for a grant for East Findlay Township for $2.5 million with the Appalachian Region Commission. They have a Power Arc application that we'd like your permission to actually apply for. We also want to thank again the Board of Commissioners for all your support that you've done with the broadband program. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about the broadband, you can contact us at broadbandhelp@co.washington.pa.us. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Next, we have David Richards. I have to say, as David's coming up here, this is a man who has given his life in service in law enforcement and supporting those who have served with the Blue Knights for many, 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 many years. He's done a lot of great work in the county, so we appreciate all you've done.
Thank you for that. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here today representing the men and women of law enforcement on behalf of Lodge 22, the Fraternal Order of Police. I'm currently the president. We represent police agencies north of the city of Washington, west down to the state line, and north to the Allegheny County line. My reason for being here today, over the last several months, I've received many complaints from police departments within my jurisdiction about the current status of the radios. The police radios, not being able to hear on the radios, not receiving calls on the radios. And I know that currently the county is looking at correcting that problem. Again, I don't have all the answers to everything that's going on either. But my main concern is that I retired in January of 21. And I'll say this, the radios have been bad for 20 years, okay? We need to make them better, okay? The safety of the men and women out there are important, not only to me, but I think to the community as well as the commissioners. We need to do something, okay? And at this point, I don't think it's so much about the cost. Okay, the cost I don't want to see is the cost of life. Okay, we need to correct the problem. And again, back in January, quickly, I sent a letter down to the 911 center, Mr. Coleman, about the ongoing problems. That was back in January 3rd of this year. But again, we can talk about problems, and obviously there's problems or I wouldn't be here, number one. But I just hope that we can find a common ground and correct it. Okay, and again, when I said the radio problem's been going on for 20 years, we have had problems, and we need them to get better. Communication today is paramount, whether it's fire, police, EMS. The concern to me is if someone can't hear something and they're not getting the radio communication, not only could affect their safety, but the person that responded to assist. We need to know what's going on. So on behalf of the people I represent, I'm asking for the commissioners as well as the county to really look at that. Let's do what we have to do to correct the problem. I don't think cost is the problem. We need to correct the problem because obviously it's an ongoing issue. And again, on behalf of everyone that I represent, thank you for the ability to be here today and tell you that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks for what you do.
Next, we have Chuck Knott.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for seeing me this afternoon. As you said, my name is Chuck Knott. I'm a resident of Canonsburg. And following your previous meeting, the Observer Reporter published an article regarding your chosen direction for your public safety radio system project. Now, given the content of that article and my subsequent information gathering efforts, I feel compelled to appear before you and the citizens of Washington County to express several concerns regarding the project. The challenges with implementing a public safety radio system are at times seemingly infinite. Now, I know this all too well because not only am I a local resident, I'm also a subject matter expert in the industry with over 40 years of hands-on experience and have personally been involved with hundreds of projects just like yours. My only interest is seeing that our first responders get a system that meets their requirements. Now, although the county employed a best practices approach at the beginning of the project, the current chosen direction of the project appears to be in opposition to the findings of both your consultant and the evaluation committee's recommendations, which is something that I find to be highly unusual. Now, all vendors make promises that they are rarely able to keep. Regardless of vendor and despite their best efforts, change orders are going to occur, final costs will likely increase and the schedule will slip. To do a project the size of Washington County in a quality manner will likely take longer than 2 years to complete. Now, the article also seems to indicate the analysis of VHF spectrum will be done by MRA. Now, why did they not provide this information at the time of the proposal along with the appropriate guarantees it would work? To have a vendor selling the equipment, doing this type of study after proposal is submitted is a major concern, a true red flag moment. I would further question just how engaged Tate Corporate Engineering has been involved in this entire process. I would ask to Tate Corporate demonstrate at least 3 examples where they've done the engineering and implemented the exact type of system being considered by Washington County. It's also of the utmost importance the county consider the cost of the tower work that must be done to support any system that's put into place because the cost and time associated with this are significant and they will take a lot of time to complete. Beyond the obvious technical challenges, smaller organizations face challenges to have adequate resources to do the work. There is a significant amount of work to be done, and a self-imposed deadline of 2 years is not positioning this project for success. Now, there are a few options. You could take the ARPA money and build this project over phases in multiple budget cycles. You could take and look at perhaps allocating all or part of this ARPA money to fund the purchase of radios for our first responders who will struggle to procure the equipment they will need for the new system. And lastly, you could consider canceling the procurement and issuing an RFI to the vendors to gauge the interest in your project. Assuming a positive reply, reissue the RFP for a P25 compliant system that does not rely solely on VHF frequencies. Respectfully, for the safety of our first responders and the citizens they serve, I strongly urge you to reconsider your chosen directions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jody Noble.
here on behalf of and with my colleagues from the Washington County Association of Township Officials. They've asked me to just take a minute because we have gotten questions from our member communities. First of all, we would like to thank the commissioners for addressing the emergency communication system deficiencies. I know we've all been dealing with it for years, and to see it moving forward is certainly a welcome event. And as we've discussed, I don't know that there's any more important or critical service that the county provides to the communities, our residents, and even those visiting our county than emergency communication. So we really thank you for addressing that. And we just had two questions. The first is, last month the bid was awarded conditional upon a frequency study confirming that it would work. And we were curious if that study has been completed, and do we have confirmation that the proposed system will work? And then our second question is if the commissioners would be willing to meet with our executive committee so that we can understand the status of the project, where it is, where it's going, and what's going to be expected of us and our member communities as we move forward, because we are going to be partnering with the county to make this work for everyone.
Thank you very much, Jody. I'm just going to give you a brief recap. As far as the radio system goes, the only reason we're able to do the improvements that we're hoping to deliver to you is because of ARPA monies, the American Rescue Plan Act monies. We have a timeline under which the spending ends, and that opportunity expires. I will just tell you that Motorola, their proposal did not provide for completion of that project within that timeline. That's number one. Number two, the Tate proposal, I know people are calling it MRA, they're helping Tate, their provider with Tate, save $7,695,000 over the Motorola proposal that was submitted that admittedly they said they could not complete in the timeline for the ARPA spending. In addition, the proposal on an annual basis would cost anywhere from $600,000 to $800,000 more per year for public safety if it had been the Motorola proposal. Motorola stated they would not provide a VHF proposal. The committee said they preferred a VHF proposal. So that's a little bit of the information that I just want to make sure that you have as far as the radio system. And the study is not completed yet. Where'd Jody go? There you are. The study's not yet been completed, so we don't have that. And of course, we can schedule a meeting. Okay. Now there is something else before we move on to the business of the county, a statement I feel very compelled to make. As many of you may be aware, a lawsuit's been filed against the county, the prison board, the Washington County Correctional Facility, and the warden. A story appeared this morning's Observer Reporter and on its website. I was briefly interviewed yesterday by Mike Jones from the OR about this lawsuit. The article written by Mr. Jones is accurate in regards to my statement to him where I said, all policies and procedures were followed. There is no wrongdoing on behalf of Washington County. This is nothing more than theatrics and meritless nonsense. That was my quote, correctly given in the Observer Reporter. However, it has come to my attention that Brenda Davis, an elected official, has posted on her Facebook page a complete misstatement of what I said. Ms. Davis informed her Facebook followers that I said the opposite, that no policies and procedures were followed, and that there is wrongdoing on the part of the county. Her inference is that I believe the lawsuit has merit. Nothing could be further from the truth. Ms. Davis has since removed the erroneous quote completely from her Facebook page. Her Facebook page contains several other inaccuracies as well. It is unconscionable for Ms. Davis to be discussing litigation involving the county and the warden on her Facebook page. The lawsuit has nothing to do with her at all. She knows nothing about the facts of the matter and is not involved. Her inaccurate quote by me is a clear, deliberate attempt to place the county, the warden, and myself in a false light with the citizens of Washington County, and she is clearly doing so for political gains. In addition, it should be noted that Brenda Davis is an elected official who is running to retain her position as the clerk of courts. Lawsuits are not won or lost in the newspaper or on social media, but they are tried in a courtroom. She should and does know better. I will be consulting with my own legal counsel to possibly pursue litigation to put a stop to this type of outrageous behavior. We will now move on to old business with our solicitor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Purchasing respectfully requests the Commissioners award the broadband services proposal for a unified turnkey solution providing broadband connectivity for 680 residential and commercial targets in the North Hanover Township, South Hanover Township, and Burgestown, Pennsylvania areas to Comcast Cable Communications LLC of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for 116 miles of fiber at a total cost of $8,164,724, of which Washington County will pay $3,836,719. The remainder will be supplemented by Comcast. Costs will be funded from the American Rescue Plan Act Fund.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman? Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Purchasing on behalf of the Planning Commission respectfully request the Commissioners award the bid for the Cross Creek Shelter Site Preparation Project to A. Liberoni, Inc., Plum, Pennsylvania, at a total cost of $2,072,924.58. This award is being made to the lowest, most responsible and responsive bidder meeting requirements. Bid responses are reviewed and recommended for award by the Purchasing and Planning Departments. Costs will be paid from Mingo Gas Lease Funds.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Purchasing respectfully request the Commissioners award the bid for the Joint Municipal Purchasing Program for Washington County to the listed vendors based on their delivered per unit cost estimated in the bid proposals. One Nation Distribution, New Wilmington, Pennsylvania; Cold Spring Stone Supply, Uniontown, Pennsylvania; Midland Asphalt, Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania; Russell Standard, Valencia, Pennsylvania; and Heidelberg Materials, Northeast Collinsville, Pennsylvania. All items have been awarded to the lowest, most responsive and responsible bidders meeting specifications. If approved, this contract will be effective date of approval through April 4, 2024, at a total yearly cost of approximately $12,000. All bid responses were reviewed and recommended for award by the Planning and Purchasing Departments.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Purchasing on behalf of the Planning Commission respectfully request the Commissioners award the bid for the Washington County paving project servicing Nottingham, Chartiers, and Cross Creek Townships to Morgan Excavating LP of Charlevoix, Pennsylvania, at their submitted project cost of $486,765. This award is being made to the lowest, most responsible and responsive bidder meeting requirements. Bid responses are reviewed and recommended for award by the Purchasing and Planning Departments. Costs will be paid from Mingo Gas Lease Funds.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Planning respectfully requests the Commission approve the following change orders. Change orders number 4 and 5, courthouse courtroom number 7 renovation. Purchasing on behalf of Justin Welsh, Building and Grounds. Respectfully request the Board of County Commissioners approve the following change orders with Stonemouth Roof, Inc. of Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. Change order number 4 is for the ductwork and piping penetration to the courthouse basement in the amount of $13,358. Change order number 5 is for voids in the floor ceiling system of courtroom 7 in the amount of $23,897. Change orders 4 and 5 will change the amount of their current contract from $2,622,331.65 to $2,659,586.65. Both change orders were reviewed and recommended by Justin Welsh, Building Grounds, Pat Grimm, Courts, McBracy, and Buckhorn Horn, Inc.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes. Thank you. Now, new business.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chief Clerk respectfully requests the Commissioners approve the appointment of David Gatling to the Washington County Housing Authority.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Chief Clerk, on behalf of the Correctional Facility, respectfully request the Commissioners approve an agreement with Text Behind for the digitization of inmate family and friends mail. The agreement will be in the amount of $500 per month, will be funded by inmate welfare funds, and the service will be effective 30 days after agreement execution.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Planning respectfully requests the Commissioners approve an agreement with PennDOT under the locally owned Historic Trust project, which transfers responsibility to PennDOT for design development activities, right-of-way acquisition, utility relocation coordination, contract development, letting and award, construction inspection, and all other activities incidental to the design and construction of the project. Costs will be paid 100% with state funds. The agreement also authorizes the Chair of the Board of Commissioners to execute all documents for the project.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman? Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Planning respectfully requests the Commissioners approve a MOU with PRC for a household hazardous waste and tire collection event to be held June 24th, 2023. Washington County will pay PRC $6,500 to assist with the cost of the event. Funds will come from the recycling account.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Planning, on behalf of Parks and Recreation, respectfully requests the Commissioners approve a RFP from qualified engineering and planning firms to complete a master site plan for all county parks. The current plans completed in 2014 have been substantially implemented. The new plan will complete an analysis of the parks to determine features and amenities for future development or redevelopment.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
The solicitor respectfully requests the Commissioners adopt a policy outlining the county's statutory obligations under the Pennsylvania Breach of Personal Information Notification Act, which goes into effect on May 3rd, 2023.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Finance, on behalf of the Correctional Facility, respectfully request the Commissioners approve a renewal agreement with the County of Allegheny for the housing of inmates. The agreement is reciprocal between both parties with a daily housing fee of $158.04 charged by Allegheny County Jail, and a daily housing fee of $87.32 charged by the Washington County Correctional Facility, with each facility responsible for the cost of medical care for their placed inmates. The agreement will be effective May 1st, 2023 through April 30th, 2024, and is contingent upon approval at the prison board meeting on April 19th, 2023, minute number PB 4-19-23.
So moved.
So moved. Second?
Before we call for a roll call vote, just so everyone understands, the rates that are determined by the rate per day cost in each county, that's why they're different. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
And Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Finance, on behalf of the Sheriff, respectfully request the Commissioners approve a sub-grant agreement with the Borough of Canonsburg for police training grant monies from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The agreement is in the amount of $260,515 and will reimburse the county for all costs associated with the training.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Finance, on behalf of the Sheriff, respectfully request the Commissioners approve a MOU with Total Security International LLC for the provision of specialized police training. The MOU is in the amount of $248,536.80, with a maximum of $5,000 to be reserved to cover any unplanned costs incurred by the county, if any. The MOU is fully reimbursable under a sub-grant agreement with the Borough of Canonsburg and will be effective pending county solicitor review and approval.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Finance, on behalf of the sheriff, respectfully request the commissioners ratify the approval of a grant application with State Farm Insurance. The grant application is in the amount of $2,500 and will be used for the sheriff's DARE program.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Finance, on behalf of the sheriff, respectfully request the commissioners ratify the approval of a grant application with the Washington Community Foundation for the Range Resources Good Neighbors Fund. The grant application is in the amount of $10,000 and will be used for the sheriff's DARE program.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Finance, on behalf of the courts, respectfully request the commissioners approve a renewal agreement with Washington Drug and Alcohol Commission, Inc. for STEP. The agreement is in the amount of $30,000 and will be for the period of 1 year from May 1st, 2023 through April 30th, 2024, and will be fully funded from Act 198, Substance Abuse and Education and Demand Reduction Monies.
Moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Finance, on behalf of the courts, respectfully request the commissioners approve a personal services agreement with Lacey Kenny for the provision of CRN evaluation services. The agreement is in the amount of $30 per CRN evaluation and will be effective April 20th, 2023, and shall continue until terminated by either party.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Finance, on behalf of the Washington County Authority, respectfully request the commissioners ratify the approval of a grant application with Appalachian Regional Commission's Partnerships for Opportunity in Workforce and Economic Revitalization in the amount of $2.5 million for broadband expansion for the underserved in Washington County.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Finance, on behalf of Public Safety, respectfully request the Commissioners approve renewal grant application and agreement with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, PEMA, for the Hazardous Materials Response Fund program. The grant application and agreement will not exceed $40,000 and will be for the period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th of 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Finance, respectfully request the Commissioners approve a resolution certifying the local match for state operating financial assistance for the Washington County Transportation Authority. The resolution covers the fiscal year 2023 through 2024 in the amount of $190,000 and will enable the authority to access $2,004,724 in operating funds for the year.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Finance, respectfully request the Commissioners approve a renewal service agreement with Maximus U.S. Services, Inc. for the provision of indirect cost reporting. The agreement is in the amount of $41,700 and covers engagement years 2021, 2022, and 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Finance, respectfully request the Commissioners approve a subrecipient agreement with the Redevelopment Authority for administration of the fiscal year 2022 CDBG program. The agreement is in the amount of $3,520,435 and reaffirms the existing approval of RACW as administrator
of the county's program.
So moved.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Finance respectfully request the Commissioners approve a subrecipient agreement with the Redevelopment Authority for administration of the fiscal year 2022 Home Investment Partnership Program. The agreement is in the amount of $655,656 and reaffirms the existing approval of RACW as administrator of the county's program.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Children and Youth Services respectfully request the Commissioners approve a provider agreement with a second chance for placement services for the period of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th of 2023. The contract authorization amount is $100,000 and no county funds are required.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Children and Youth Services respectfully request the Commissioners approve a provider agreement with SpeakRite for transcription services for the period of April 1st, 2023 through June 30th of 2024. The contract authorization amount is $25,000 and no additional county funds are required.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Children and Youth Services respectfully request the Commissioners approve a provider agreement with Dr. Trish Pepe for the provision of psychological and interactional evaluations for the period of April 1st, 2023 through June 30th of 2024. The contract authorization amount is $125,000 and no county funds are required.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Children and Youth Services respectfully request the Commissioners approve provider agreement addendums in the amount of $465,000 for the period of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th of 2023, and no additional county funds are required.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Children and Youth Services respectfully request the Commissioners approve a grant application with the Statewide Adoption and Permanency Network for $1,300 to host foster care recruitment events in 2023. The one-time grant application does not have a match requirement, and no additional county funds are required.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Behavioral Health and Developmental Services respectfully request the Commissioners approve a provider agreement addendum with pediatric therapy professionals for the period of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th of 2023. The contract authorization amount will be increased to $120,000 and no county funds are required.
No additional county funds are required.
No additional county funds are required. Sorry.
I now
That's
move.
okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes, you know I'm paying attention.
Thank you.
That was a test by Cindy to see if I was paying attention.
Human Services respectfully request the Commissioners approve a purchase of service agreement with Academy for Adolescent Health, Inc. to provide employee training and facilitate meetings as needed between the county and third-party providers for the period of April 1st, 2023 through December 31st of 2023. Services will be provided at a rate of $125 per hour for up to 20 hours of service. The contract authorization amount will not exceed $2,500 and no additional county funds are required.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Purchasing on behalf of the courts respectfully request the Commissioners authorize the RFPs for office space for MDJ 27-1-03.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Purchasing on behalf of Public Safety respectfully request the Commissioners approve the purchase of Cisco Firepower 2110 firewalls with a 3-year license and support from Synerge IT
at a total cost of $49,920.44, including estimated installation and configuration services. Costs will be funded from the 911 operating budget.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Purchasing, respectfully request the Commissioners approve a professional services consulting agreement with Jill Shasha for the purpose of providing consulting services for the purchasing department. This agreement will be effective retroactive to January 20th, 2023 through March 15th of 2023 at a rate of $50 per hour and will be paid from purchasing's budget.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Purchasing on behalf of the correctional facility. Respectfully request the Commissioners approve the purchase of the Risen Capture Stun Shield from Less Lethal LLC at a cost of $2,303 with a $475 fee to certify one master trainer. Costs will be funded from their operating budget.
So moved.
Second.
The stun shield is not to be used during public meetings. It is for the jail. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Use it on Larry.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Purchasing, respectfully request the Commissioners approve an agreement for broadband funding research and funding applications between Washington County and Sustainable Strategies, DC, for a total cost of $25,000. This agreement will be effective March 1st, 2023, and shall extend through project completion unless sooner terminated in accordance with the terms and conditions of the agreement. If approved, the associated costs for research, grant writing, and submission will be paid to Sustainable Strategies by the grant provided by JTF.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Purchasing on behalf of the Court Administrator. Respectfully request the Commissioners approve an agreement with FTR to upgrade courtrooms and hearing rooms software, including licenses for monitoring software and support from FTR at a cost of $20,800. Costs will be funded from Act 13 funds.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Purchasing on behalf of the Court Administrator. Respectfully request the Commissioners enter into a 7-year lease agreement with Washington Investments, LLC for MDJ 27-3-5 with the option to renew for 2 additional 5-year terms at a 5% increase. The term of the lease shall begin upon completion of the final build-out later this year.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Purchasing on behalf of the Court Administrator. Respectfully request the Commissioners approve the 3 renewals and payment of the annual software support and maintenance agreement with Tibco Cloud Software Group in the amount of $63,694. This will be effective June 17, 2023 through June 16, 2026, and will be funded from their operating budget.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
Purchasing on behalf of the Court Administrator. Respectfully request the Commissioners approve the purchase of office furniture from Jasper Seating Company. The requested purchase would be made via Pennsylvania state contract and therefore does not require bidding. The total cost of the proposed furnishings is $77,678, and the purchase will be funded from Act 13 funds.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes.
The Redevelopment Authority respectfully requests the Commissioners adopt a resolution approving the proposed action plan amendments and budget revisions to the CDBG program.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn?
Yes. Thank you, Cindy. I know this was a long one. Thank you. Now under announcements.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
An executive session was held at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, April 19th, 2023, following the agenda meeting to discuss personnel and litigation. The regularly scheduled salary board meeting will be immediately following today's meeting. Thank you. Solicitor Grimm.
Thank you very much. As solicitor, I expect to request the commissioners approve tax refunds in the amount of $76,830.27.
Second.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Maggi?
Yes.
And Mrs. Vaughn? Yes, since I believe we have reached everyone's, attention limit, this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all for being here.
Anybody else want to say something? We got proclamations and speeches.